Your morning imaginal act creates your entire day. Change the first thought, and you change everything that follows. Inspired by Neville Goddard. You wake up already exhausted. Isn't that the strangest paradox of modern life? That rest itself has become something we need to recover from. That the moment your eyes open, your nervous system feels like it's been running a marathon in its sleep. For 3 years, I woke up fighting a war that no one else could see. My body was present, I showed up, I answered emails, I made decisions, I even smiled at the right moments. But somewhere beneath the skin, in the deep architecture of my nervous system, something had broken. The pilot light had gone out, but the alarm was still ringing. And here's what no one tells you about burnout. It doesn't feel like exhaustion, not at first. It feels like you're finally doing enough. It feels like productivity, like purpose, like the version of yourself you always wanted to become. Burnout wears the mask of ambition until the mask fuses to your face, and then one morning you try to take it off and realize you can't remember who you were underneath. I tried everything the internet told me to try. Cold showers, 5 a.m. wake-ups, green powders that cost more than my first car, meditation apps that guilt-tripped me for not being present enough. I optimized my mornings like a machine learning algorithm, convinced that if I just found the perfect routine, the exhaustion would finally lift. But the exhaustion wasn't in my calendar, it was in my cells. And that's when I stopped looking for productivity hacks and started looking for restoration. What I'm about to share with you isn't another morning routine designed to help you squeeze more output out of your limited hours. It's not about hacking your cortisol so you can work longer without crashing. It's not about biohacking your way to becoming a better capitalist tool. This is something else entirely. This is what happened when I stopped asking, how can I get more done in the morning, and started asking, what does my nervous system actually need to remember how to live again? The 3 routines I'm going to walk you through come from an unexpected place, not from productivity gurus, but from neuroscientists who study trauma recovery. Not from success coaches, but from monks who've spent decades understanding the difference between being awake and being conscious. Not from biohackers, but from indigenous wisdom keepers who never forgot that the first hour of the day isn't for doing, it's for remembering who you are before the world tells you who to be. These routines fixed my burnout not because they did more, but because they did something radically different. They stopped treating my body like a machine that needed optimization and started treating it like a garden that needed tending. And here's the part that still gives me chills when I think about it. The science backs up what the mystics have been saying for thousands of years. The first 60 minutes after waking aren't just another hour. They're a neurological gateway, a liminal space where your brain waves are still half dreaming, where your subconscious is still porous, where the architecture of your entire day and eventually your entire life is being constructed whether you're paying attention or not. Most of us spend that gateway scrolling. We wake up and immediately hand the most sacred hour of our existence to algorithms designed to extract our attention, activate our anxiety, and sell it back to us as news or connection. We let the world's chaos flood in before we've even remembered our own name. No wonder we're exhausted. No wonder we feel like strangers in our own lives. No wonder burnout has become the baseline, and we've forgotten what it feels like to wake up and simply be glad to be alive without any condition attached. But here's what I discovered, and what neuroscience now confirms. You can rebuild. You can restore. You can take a nervous system that's been running on emergency power for years and teach it, slowly, gently, that it's safe to come home.
It starts with the morning. Not because the morning is magical in some superficial rise and grind sense, but because the morning is when your system is most malleable, most open to reprogramming, most ready to receive a different story about what it means to be alive. The 3 routines I'm going to share with you aren't complicated. They don't require expensive equipment or 2-hour commitments or a complete life overhaul. In fact, the most powerful one takes exactly 90 seconds and requires nothing but your own breath. But they work because they address something deeper than productivity. They address the relationship between your conscious mind and your autonomic nervous system, the conversation happening beneath the conversation, the part of you that never sleeps, never stops scanning for danger, never stops asking, "Am I safe? Am I loved? Am I enough?" For 3 years, my nervous system had been answering those questions with a firm and desperate no. And no amount of green juice was going to change that. What changed it was learning, finally, after years of searching, that the body doesn't speak the language of goals and achievements. It speaks the language of rhythm, of safety, of presence, of felt experience rather than thought-about experience. These routines taught me that language again. They taught my body that mornings could be a place of arrival rather than departure, a homecoming rather than a launch pad for another day of proving my worth through output. And slowly, not overnight, not dramatically, but slowly, like the way light returns to a room at dawn, I started to feel something I hadn't felt in years. I started to feel alive again. Not productive, not successful, not impressive, alive. And that, it turns out, is the only thing that actually matters. Because from aliveness, everything else flows naturally. Creativity flows, connection flows, purpose flows. Even productivity, real, sustainable, joyful productivity flows, but only when it's sourced from something deeper than the fear of not being enough. So whether you're lying in bed right now dreading the sound of your alarm, or you've been running on fumes so long you've forgotten what full feels like, or you simply sense that there must be more to mornings than caffeine and cortisol and the slow drain of your own vitality, stay with me. Because what I'm about to share isn't information, it's an invitation. To come home to yourself before the world tells you who you need to be. To remember that you are not your output, not your productivity, not your to-do list, not your inbox. To reclaim the first hour of your day as sacred ground, ground where your nervous system can finally take a breath and remember what it's like to feel safe in your own skin. The neuroscience is clear, the ancient wisdom is clear, and now, after years of living it myself, I can tell you with absolute certainty, you don't need more discipline, you don't need more optimization, you don't need to try harder. You just need to remember how to wake up differently. And it starts now.
Here's what nobody tells you about your first waking moment. In that liminal space between sleep and consciousness, those first few seconds before your mind grabs hold of the day, your nervous system is taking a reading. It's asking a silent, primal question. Am I safe? Not, do I have enough done on my to-do list? Not, what meetings are scheduled for today? Not, did I reply to that email from yesterday? Am I safe? This question has been running in the background of every human nervous system since before we were human. It's older than language, older than culture, older than consciousness itself. It's the operating system upon which every other experience of your life is built. And for most of us, in most of our mornings, that question gets answered before we're even awake enough to notice. The alarm blares, danger, abrupt awakening, predator nearby, jump up, be ready. The phone is reached for, scan environment, check for threats. What happened while I was unconscious? Am I still accepted? Did anyone reject me while I was gone?
The news loads, more threats, more reasons to be afraid, more evidence that safety is an illusion. The emails flood in, demands, expectations, proof that you're behind, that you're not enough, that the world needs things from you that you don't have to give. By the time most people have been awake for 15 minutes, their nervous system has already cycled through a complete threat assessment protocol designed for saber-toothed tigers and tribal warfare. Except now the tigers are notifications and the warfare is social comparison. And here's the part that changes everything when you understand it. Your nervous system cannot tell the difference between a physical threat and a perceived one. It cannot distinguish between being chased by a predator and being overwhelmed by email. It cannot distinguish between actual physical danger and the subtle, chronic stress of feeling inadequate, behind, unseen, or unworthy. To your autonomic nervous system, stress is stress, threat is threat. And once that threat response is activated, once your sympathetic nervous system floods your body with cortisol and adrenaline, it doesn't just turn off because you tell it to. It doesn't respond to logic or positive affirmations or even sincere intentions to just relax. It responds to one thing and one thing only: felt safety. Which brings us to the first great illusion that most morning routines are built on. The illusion is this, that you can think your way out of a dysregulated nervous system. We live in a culture that worships the mind. We believe that if we just understand something, if we just have the right information, the right framework, the right philosophy, we can overcome any obstacle. And so we approach burnout the same way, by reading books about it, listening to podcasts about it, trying to think our way back to wholeness. But the nervous system doesn't speak the language of thought. It speaks the language of sensation, of rhythm, of touch, of breath, of felt experience rather than analyzed experience. This is why the most sophisticated understanding of your burnout won't heal it. This is why knowing exactly why you're exhausted doesn't make you less exhausted. This is why insight without embodiment is just another form of procrastination. The neuroscientists call this the mind-body problem, and they've been wrestling with it for decades, but the mystics have known about it for millennia. The mind is a wonderful servant, but a terrible master. And when it comes to healing the nervous system, the mind must learn to step aside and let something deeper lead. So what does this mean for your morning routine? It means that the most important question you can ask when you wake up is not, "What should I do?" but rather, "What does my body need right now to feel safe?" And this question, this simple, radical question, opens up an entirely different dimension of morning practice. Because your body's needs are surprisingly simple. They're not complicated, they're not expensive, they're not the kind of thing that can be optimized or hacked or turned into a productivity system. Your body needs to know, on a felt level, that it's not in danger. That's it. That's the whole game. And there are three primary ways the body learns this safety. Three channels through which your nervous system can receive the message that it's okay to rest, okay to be here, okay to be alive without having to earn the right to exist. The first channel is the breath. Of all the autonomic functions, heart rate, digestion, immune response, the breath is the only one that straddles both worlds. It happens automatically without your conscious input, but you can also choose to influence it. You can slow it down, you can deepen it, you can hold it. And when you do, you're not just changing your oxygen intake, you're sending a direct signal to your brainstem that says, we're safe enough to breathe slowly, we're safe enough to pause, we're safe enough to be here. This is why every single wisdom tradition on Earth, from the Vedas to the Desert Fathers to modern neuroscience, places the breath at the center of transformation. It's the bridge between the voluntary and the involuntary, between the mind and the body, between the part of you that thinks and the part of you that simply is. The second channel is the body's felt sense of itself. You know how a cat, when it's scared, will arch its back and puff up its fur, and then when the danger passes, it will literally shake its body and then curl up and groom itself?
That's not just random cat behavior. That's the nervous system completing a stress response cycle. Humans do the same thing, except we've been taught to suppress it. We've been taught to override our body's signals, to ignore the tightness in our chest, the knot in our stomach, the tension in our shoulders. We've been taught that these sensations are distractions from what really matters, which is always somewhere else, always something to be done, always somewhere to get to. But the body never stops sending these signals. It never stops asking for attention. And when we consistently ignore them, the volume gets turned up. The signals become symptoms. The whispers become screams. Healing burnout means learning to listen again, learning to feel your body from the inside, not as an object you look at, but as a subjective experience you inhabit. This is what neuroscientists call interoception, the sense of the internal state of the body. And research shows that people with better interoceptive awareness have better emotional regulation, less anxiety, and faster recovery from stress. The third channel is rhythm and repetition. Your nervous system is, at its core, a pattern recognition machine. It's constantly scanning for consistency, for predictability, for the kind of reliable rhythms that signal safety. This is why babies need routines. This is why soldiers with PTSD struggle with unexpected loud noises. This is why, on a deep biological level, chaos feels like danger and predictability feels like safety. A morning routine isn't just about getting things done. It's about giving your nervous system a predictable sequence of events that it can stop scanning and start relaxing into. It's about creating a container of certainty in a world of constant uncertainty. It's about telling your body through repetition and rhythm, this is how we start. This is what safe feels like. This is what you can count on. When you understand these three channels, breath, felt sense, and rhythm, you start to see why most burnout advice doesn't work. It's not addressing the right layer of the problem. It's trying to fix the mind without including the body. It's trying to optimize output without addressing input. It's trying to build a house on ground that's still shaking. And this brings us to a deeper truth, one that the ancient wisdom traditions understood and that modern neuroscience is only now catching up to. Burnout isn't a productivity problem, it's an identity problem. When you're burned out, you haven't just run out of energy, you've run out of the story that made the exhaustion feel meaningful. You've lost touch with the who that was doing all that doing. You've spent so long being what the world needed you to be that you've forgotten who you are when no one needs anything from you. This is why the standard advice, take a vacation, get more sleep, set better boundaries, only provides temporary relief because it treats the symptom without addressing the source. It gives you a nap when what you really need is a new relationship with yourself.
The morning routines I'm going to share with you in the next sections address this deeper layer. They're not designed to make you more productive. They're designed to help you remember yourself. The self that existed before the world told you who to be. The self that will still exist when all your achievements have crumbled to dust. The self that doesn't need to earn its place at the table of existence. They work with the breath because the breath is the bridge between doing and being. They work with the felt sense of the body because the body is where your history lives and where your healing must happen. They work with rhythm and repetition because safety is built through consistency, not intensity. And they work with something even deeper, something the neuroscientists are only beginning to map, but that the mystics have always known. The first hour of the day is not just another hour, it's a portal. In those first moments of waking, your brain waves are still in a theta-dominant state, the same state associated with deep meditation, with hypnosis, with the kind of heightened suggestibility where real change becomes possible. Your critical mind hasn't fully booted up yet. Your defenses haven't fully engaged. You're more open, more permeable, more capable of receiving a different story about who you are and what your life could be. Most people waste this portal. They fill it with noise and distraction and the same old patterns that created their burnout in the first place.
But if you learn to use it, if you learn to meet yourself in that liminal space with intention and presence, something remarkable happens. The day that follows isn't just more productive, it's more alive. The challenges don't disappear, but your relationship to them shifts. The demands don't stop, but you stop deriving your worth from meeting them. The world doesn't get quieter, but you develop an internal quiet that no external noise can touch. This is what healing from burnout actually looks like. It's not about building a fortress against the world. It's about rebuilding the self that the world eroded. And it starts in the morning. Not because the morning is when you do the most, but because the morning is when you have the best chance to simply be before the doing begins. Not because the morning is when you're most productive, but because the morning is when you're most you, before the roles, the masks, the expectations, the shoulds, the have-tos, the not-enoughs. The 3 routines I discovered, one from a neuroscientist studying trauma recovery, one from a monk who'd spent 40 years in silence, one from my own desperate experimentation when nothing else was working, all share this common foundation. They treat the morning as sacred. Not sacred in a religious sense, sacred in the sense of set apart, protected, consecrated to something deeper than productivity. They create a container where the nervous system can finally feel safe enough to let go. They use the breath, the body, and rhythm to signal to the deepest parts of you, you're home, you're safe. You don't have to earn your place here. You already belong. And when that message finally gets through, when your nervous system actually receives it, actually believes it, actually relaxes into it, the burnout doesn't just lift, it transforms into something you never expected, into an invitation, into a doorway, into a new way of being in the world. Not just surviving, not just coping, not just getting through, but actually, deeply, irrevocably alive.
There is a story they tell in the high deserts of the American Southwest. It's about the pottery makers, the old women who still shape clay the way their grandmothers' grandmothers shaped it, with hands that remember what the mind has forgotten. They say that when a pot cracks in the firing, when the heat is too intense, too sudden, too much for the clay to bear, the pot is not thrown away, it is saved. And not just saved, transformed. The crack is filled with gold, ground gold mixed with pine resin, worked into the fissure until it gleams like a river at sunset. And when the pot is finished, when it has cooled and hardened and been polished with smooth stones, it is more beautiful than it ever could have been without the breaking. They call this kintsugi in Japan, golden joinery, the art of precious scars. But the old women of the desert never gave it a name. They simply knew, as their mothers knew, that the crack is not the end of the story. It's the beginning of a different kind of story. I thought about this story every morning for a year. In the dark, in the quiet, in the space between waking and remembering who I was supposed to be. Because I was cracked. Burnout had fissured me in places I didn't even know I had. The heat of modern life, the constant demands, the endless comparisons, the slow erosion of self beneath the weight of should had been too much, and I had broken. Not dramatically, not in a way anyone else could see, but inside, in the architecture of my nervous system, there were cracks, fault lines, places where the structure had given way and nothing had been rebuilt. And every morning when I woke up already exhausted, I could feel those cracks. I could feel where the gold wasn't yet. There's another story, this one from the forests of Northern Europe, from the time before Christianity, before writing, before the kind of memory that fits in books. It's the story of the dreamer at the threshold. In the old telling, every human being has 2 souls, not 1, 2. There's the day soul, the one that walks in sunlight, that makes decisions and builds things and speaks in words. And there's the night soul, the one that wanders while the body sleeps, that knows things the day soul can't remember, that speaks in symbols and feelings, and the kind of truth that can't be captured in language. Most people, the story goes, live their whole lives never meeting their night soul. They wake and forget. They move through the day with only half their wisdom, only half their power, only half themselves. But the dreamer at the threshold, the one who learns to linger in that liminal space between sleeping and waking, that one meets both souls. That one remembers. That one carries the wisdom of the night into the work of the day. That one is whole.
When I first heard this story, I was lying in bed at 4:47 a.m., staring at the ceiling, feeling the weight of another day I didn't have the energy to face. And something in me recognized itself in those old words. I had been living with only my day soul for years, pushing, achieving, performing, producing. The night soul, the part that felt, that dreamed, that knew things without needing proof, had been starved into silence. I had forgotten it existed. I had forgotten that wholeness requires both. The morning routines I was searching for weren't just about fixing my nervous system. They were about reuniting my two souls, about learning to linger at the threshold long enough to remember who I actually was, not just who the world needed me to be. And then there's the story of the alchemist's first mistake. In the old texts, the ones that smell of dust and Latin and the desperate hope of men who believed they could turn lead into gold, there's a warning that appears again and again. The beginner's error, they say, is impatience. The beginner takes the lead, the base metal, the raw material, the unformed self, and immediately applies the hottest fire. They want transformation now. They want results immediately. They want the gold without the waiting. But the master knows something the beginner doesn't. The fire doesn't transform, it reveals. When you apply heat to lead, you don't get gold. You get what was always there, just hotter. If the lead was impure, the heat exposes the impurity. If the lead was cracked, the heat widens the crack. If the lead wasn't ready, the heat destroys it. The transformation happens before the fire, in the preparation, in the slow, patient work of purification that no one sees, in the quiet months and years of refining the material so that when the fire comes, and it always comes, what emerges isn't destruction, but gold. I had been applying heat to my life for years, more fire, more intensity, more pressure. I thought if I just turned up the temperature, I'd eventually become the person I was supposed to be. But I hadn't done the preparation. I hadn't purified the material. I hadn't done the slow, invisible work of becoming someone who could handle the heat without breaking. And so I broke. The burnout wasn't the fire. The burnout was what happened when I applied fire to material that wasn't ready. The healing, the real healing, would require something different, not more heat, more preparation, more patience, more of the slow, invisible work that happens in the dark, before the fire, when no one is watching.
These three stories became my morning companions. The cracked pot waiting for gold, the dreamer at the threshold, the alchemist learning patience. And slowly, they taught me something that no productivity book ever could. Your burnout is not a mistake, it's a message. It's not evidence that you're weak, it's evidence that you've been strong for too long without knowing why. It's not proof that you can't handle the heat, it's proof that you've been applying heat to parts of yourself that needed shade. It's not a sign that you're broken beyond repair, it's a sign that you're ready for a different kind of repair. The kind that doesn't hide the cracks, but fills them with gold. The morning routines I'm going to share with you in the next section work not because they're clever or optimized or backed by the latest research. They work because they meet you in the crack. They meet you at the threshold. They meet you in the slow, patient work of preparation. They are not about adding more fire. They are about becoming the kind of vessel that can hold fire without breaking.
There's a moment in every genuine spiritual tradition, whether you call it kenosis in Christianity, fana in Sufism, or sunyata in Buddhism, where the seeker must face the void, must sit in the absence, must be with what is without trying to change it, without trying to escape it, without trying to make it mean something. In that moment, everything you've built falls away, your identity, your achievements, your carefully constructed story about who you are and why you matter. All of it dissolves in the presence of simply being. Most people spend their whole lives avoiding this moment. They keep the noise on, they keep moving, they keep achieving, they keep the fire burning so they never have to sit in the silence and face what's actually there. But burnout is what happens when the noise stops working, when you can't outrun the void anymore, when the fire burns so hot that it consumes everything you've been using to distract yourself from the simple, terrifying fact of your own existence. And here's what the mystics knew that the productivity gurus don't. The void is not empty, it's full of everything you've been too busy to see. When you finally stop running, when you finally sit in the morning quiet with nothing to do and nowhere to go and no one to be, you don't find nothing, you find everything. You find the self that existed before the world named you. You find the peace that isn't the absence of chaos, but the presence of something deeper than chaos. You find the gold that's been waiting all along to fill your cracks. The first routine I'm going to share with you in the next section is about this. It's about sitting in the void. It's about letting the fire burn away everything that isn't essential so that what remains can be filled with light. The second routine is about the threshold, about meeting yourself in that liminal space where both souls are present and both are honored, about carrying the wisdom of the night into the work of the day. The third routine is about patience, about the slow, invisible work of preparation, about becoming the kind of vessel that can hold the heat without breaking. And all three of them together, practiced not as tasks to check off, but as rituals to inhabit, will do something that no amount of optimization ever could. They will teach your nervous system, slowly and gently and with infinite patience, that you are safe, that you are whole, that you are not broken, you are simply ready for a different kind of repair, the kind that doesn't hide the cracks, the kind that fills them with gold.
There is a moment in every genuine healing journey when the philosophy must touch the ground, when the beautiful ideas about cracks and gold and thresholds must translate into actual, physical, measurable action. When the story becomes something you do rather than something you simply believe, this is that moment. The three routines I'm about to share with you are not complicated. They're not expensive. They don't require special equipment, extensive training, or a complete life overhaul. They are, in fact, deceptively simple. So simple that your mind will try to dismiss them as not enough, not significant, not worthy of your attention. But your mind has been running the show for years, and look where that got you. Your body knows different. Your nervous system knows different. And if you'll set aside your mind's endless hunger for complexity and novelty, your body will recognize these practices as what they are: a homecoming. Routine 1. The 90-second pause, the alchemist's preparation. Before you do anything else, before you check your phone, before you get out of bed, before you even open your eyes, you're going to do nothing for 90 seconds. That's it. That's the whole routine. But here's the thing about nothing. It's harder than it sounds. 90 seconds of doing nothing in a world that has trained you to believe that your value is directly proportional to your productivity feels like an eternity. It feels like wasting time. It feels like falling behind. It feels like every urgent thing you should be doing is gathering at the edges of your consciousness, ready to pounce. That's the point. Those 90 seconds are the alchemist's preparation. They are the moment before the fire. They are the pause that separates reaction from response, the gap between stimulus and choice, the sacred space where you remember that you are not at the mercy of every demand. Here's how you do it. When you wake up, keep your eyes closed. Don't move. Don't reach for anything. Don't mentally review your to-do list. Don't start planning your day. Just lie there, exactly as you are, and breathe. Feel your breath. Feel your body against the bed. Feel the weight of the blankets, the temperature of the air, the subtle sounds of the morning. That's all. Just be present with what is. Your mind will rebel. It will generate thoughts like popcorn in a hot pan. You're wasting time. You need to get up. What about that email? What about that meeting? What about all the things you didn't do yesterday? Don't fight the thoughts. Don't try to suppress them. Just notice them, and then, gently, without judgment, return your attention to your breath, to your body, to the simple fact of your existence. 90 seconds. That's all. But here's what happens in those 90 seconds neuroscientifically. You interrupt the cortisol spike that typically happens the moment you wake up. You give your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest system, a chance to engage before the sympathetic system hijacks your day. You create what researchers call a cessation signal, a moment of safety that tells your brainstem, we're not under attack, we can take a breath, we can be here. And over time, as you repeat this practice day after day, something deeper happens. Your nervous system begins to associate waking with safety rather than with threat. The first moment of consciousness becomes a moment of presence rather than a moment of panic. The crack begins to fill with gold. Real-world application. Do this before you touch your phone, before you speak to anyone, before you even open your eyes. Those 90 seconds are non-negotiable. They are the foundation upon which everything else is built.
Routine 2. The body scan, the dreamer at the threshold. After your 90-second pause, you're going to move your attention through your body in a deliberate, systematic way. This is called a body scan, and it's one of the most researched, most validated practices in all of clinical neuroscience. It's used to treat trauma, anxiety, depression, chronic pain, and yes, burnout. Because burnout isn't just in your head, it's in your shoulders, your jaw, your gut, your chest. It's in the places you've been clenching for years without realizing it. Here's how you do it. Keep your eyes closed. Keep lying down. Begin to bring your attention to the top of your head. Just notice, what sensations are there? Tingling? Pressure? Nothing at all? Don't try to change anything. Just notice. Then slowly, deliberately, move your attention down to your forehead, your eyes, your jaw, and oh, that jaw. Notice how tight it is, how you've been holding tension there for years without even knowing it. Just notice. Don't try to relax it. Just feel what's there. Your neck, your shoulders, your upper back, your chest. Feel your heartbeat. Feel your breath moving in and out. Feel the aliveness of this space. Your stomach, your lower back, your hips, where so much of our unprocessed experience gets stored. Your thighs, your knees, your calves, your feet, your toes. The whole scan takes maybe 3 to 5 minutes. It's not complicated. You're not trying to achieve anything. You're simply showing up for your body for the first time, perhaps, in years. And here's what happens beneath the surface. You activate the insula, the part of your brain responsible for interoception, for feeling the internal state of your body. You strengthen the neural pathways that connect your conscious mind to your felt experience. You begin to notice the places where you've been holding tension, which is the first step toward releasing it. But more than that, much more than that, you send your nervous system a profound message. I see you. I feel you. I'm here with you. You're not alone in this. For a nervous system that's been running on emergency power for years, carrying its burdens in silence, never being acknowledged or attended to, this message is revolutionary. It's the night soul finally being seen by the day soul. It's the dreamer at the threshold being welcome home. Real-world application. Do this immediately after your 90-second pause, before you get out of bed, before you engage with the world. Let your body know in the most direct way possible that it matters, that its experience counts, that you're paying attention.
Routine 3. The rhythmic grounding. The cracked pot's gold. Now you get out of bed, but you don't rush. You don't leap into action. You move slowly, deliberately, with presence, and you head towards something simple and physical. A glass of water, a few minutes of stretching, a short walk around your room, a moment of standing barefoot on the floor, feeling the ground beneath you. The specifics don't matter as much as the rhythm, the consistency, the doing of the same thing in the same way at the same time every single day. This is the third routine, and it's the one that most people overlook because it seems too simple to matter. But it's actually the most powerful of the three, because it's the one that builds safety through predictability. Your nervous system craves rhythm the way your lungs crave air. It wants to know what comes next. It wants to be able to relax into a pattern rather than constantly scanning for what's new, what's different, what might be dangerous. When you create a simple, repeatable sequence of actions that you do every morning without fail, you're not just building a habit, you're building a sanctuary. You're telling your body, this is how we start. This is what safe feels like. This is what you can count on. Here's a simple template you can use or adapt. Hydrate. Drink a glass of water, slowly, mindfully, feeling the coolness as it moves through you. Your body has been fasting all night. This is the first nourishment you offer it. Move. 3 minutes of gentle stretching. Nothing intense, nothing that feels like a workout, just enough to remind your body that it's alive, that it can move, that it has a physical form worth inhabiting. Connect with the earth. Stand barefoot if you can. Feel the floor beneath you. Imagine roots growing from the soles of your feet, reaching down into the earth, grounding you in something larger than your individual concerns. Set a single intention, not a to-do list, not a goal, a simple one-sentence intention for how you want to be today, regardless of what you end up doing. Today I will be present. Today I will be kind to myself. Today I will remember that I am enough. The whole sequence takes maybe 10 minutes. It's not a workout. It's not a productivity system. It's a ritual, a way of consecrating the beginning of your day to something deeper than output. And over time, as you repeat it day after day, it becomes something more. It becomes the rhythm your nervous system learns to trust, the pattern it can relax into, the container that holds you, even on days when everything else falls apart. Real-world application. Do this at the same time, in the same order, every single day. Don't negotiate with yourself. Don't let your mind convince you that you're too busy or that it doesn't matter. It matters more than almost anything else you could do, because it's not about the actions themselves. It's about what the consistency communicates to your deepest self. Bringing it all together, the first hour as sacred ground. So here's what your complete morning practice looks like. Minutes 0 to 1.5, the 90-second pause. Nothing but breath and presence. Minutes 1.5 to 6.5, the body scan, feeling yourself from the inside. Minutes 6.5 to 15, the rhythmic grounding. Water,
movement, earth, intention. 15 minutes, that's all. 15 minutes that will transform not just your mornings, but your entire relationship with yourself and your life. And here's the thing, you can adjust the timing. You can make it shorter if 15 minutes feels like too much. You can make it longer if you find yourself craving more. The exact duration matters less than the consistency, the intention, the showing up. What matters is that you're finally giving your nervous system what it's been begging for: safety, attention, rhythm, presence. What matters is that you're finally treating your first waking hour as sacred rather than as something to be sacrificed on the altar of productivity. What matters is that you're finally filling the cracks, not with more striving, not with more doing, not with the same, but with gold. The real-world implications: what changes when you change your morning? When you practice these 3 routines consistently, something remarkable happens, not just in your mornings, but in every area of your life. Your emotional life transforms. You become less reactive, more responsive. When challenges arise, you have a pause, that 90-second pause you've practiced between stimulus and response. You don't get triggered as easily. You don't say things you regret. You don't make decisions from a place of desperation. Your relationships deepen. Because you're more present with yourself, you're more present with others. You listen better. You connect more authentically. You stop showing up as the character you think you should play and start showing up as who you actually are. Your work changes, not because you're more productive, though you probably will be, but because you're working from a different place. You're no longer trying to prove your worth through output. You're no longer burning yourself on the altar of achievement. You're working because you choose to, because you have gifts to offer, because there's joy in creation rather than just escape from inadequacy. Your body heals. Chronic tension begins to release. Sleep improves. Digestion improves. Energy returns. Not the frantic cortisol-driven energy of the burnout cycle, but the steady, sustainable energy of a nervous system that finally feels safe. Your spirit awakens. You start to notice things you'd been missing: beauty, synchronicity, the quiet magic of ordinary moments. You start to feel connected to something larger than your individual concerns, to other people, to nature, to the mysterious aliveness that moves through all things. This is what healing from burnout actually looks like. It's not about getting back to where you were before. It's about becoming someone new. Someone who carries their cracks not as wounds, but as wisdom. Someone who meets themselves at the threshold every morning and remembers who they are. Someone who has learned, finally, that they don't have to earn their place at the table of existence. They already belong. You already belong. And every morning, in those 15 minutes of presence and breath and gentle attention, you get to remember that. I want you to imagine something. Imagine waking up tomorrow and instead of reaching for your phone, instead of diving into the chaos, instead of starting the day already behind, you simply lie there for 90 seconds and breathe. Imagine feeling your body from the inside, noticing where you're holding tension, sending a silent message of attention and care to every part of yourself. Imagine moving slowly, deliberately, rhythmically through a simple sequence of actions that you do every single day, not because you have to, but because it's how you honor your own existence. Imagine carrying that presence with you into the rest of your day, into your work, your relationships, your challenges, your joys. What would change? What would become possible? What version of yourself might begin to emerge not through effort and striving, but through simply showing up day after day for the most important relationship you'll ever have, the relationship with yourself? This is not a fantasy. This is not wishful thinking. This is what becomes possible when you stop treating your mornings as something to get through and start treating them as something to inhabit. The neuroscience confirms it. The ancient wisdom confirms it. And now, after years of living it myself, I can tell you with absolute certainty, you don't need more discipline, you don't need more optimization, you don't need to try harder. You just need to remember how to wake up differently. And it starts tomorrow, with 90 seconds of nothing, with a body scan that says, "I see you," with a rhythm that builds safety through consistency, with 15 minutes that become the foundation upon which everything else is built. The cracks are there, they're real, they're not going away, but they can be filled with gold. And the gold is not something you have to find or earn or achieve. The gold is already within you. It's your presence, your attention, your willingness to show up for yourself exactly as you are, without condition or agenda. It's the you that exists before the world tells you who to be. The you that will still exist when all your achievements have crumbled to dust. The you that has been waiting all along to be seen. Tomorrow morning, you get to meet that you again. Don't be late.
There is a moment in every genuine transformation when the student becomes the teacher, not because they have mastered anything, but because they have finally understood that mastery was never the point. I thought for so many years that healing from burnout meant becoming invincible, that if I just found the right routine, the right philosophy, the right combination of practices, I would never feel exhausted again. I would never doubt myself again. I would never wake up already tired, already behind, already less than I needed to be. But that's not what happened. What happened was something quieter, something more subtle, something that took me years to recognize as actual healing rather than just another form of striving. I still get tired. I still have days when my nervous system feels frayed, when the old patterns knock at the door, when the cracks ache with memory. I still sometimes reach for my phone before I've taken my 90 seconds. I still sometimes skip my body scan and tell myself I'm too busy to be present. But here's what's different. I notice. I notice when I've abandoned myself. I notice when I'm running on cortisol instead of presence. I notice when the old burnout patterns are trying to reassert themselves. And because I notice, I have a choice. I can choose to return. I can choose to take my 90 seconds, even in the middle of the day, even when everything feels urgent, even when my mind tells me there's no time. I can choose to drop back into my body, to feel what's there, to send myself the message that I matter. I can choose to return to rhythm, to grounding, to the simple practices that remind me who I am. This is what healing actually looks like. It's not the absence of struggle, it's the presence of choice. It's not never falling, it's always being able to get back up. It's not the cracks disappearing, it's the cracks becoming part of the beauty. The fourth routine, the one they don't teach you. There's a reason I saved this for the end. The 3 routines I've shared with you, the 90-second pause, the body scan, the rhythmic grounding, are powerful. They work. They're backed by neuroscience and ancient wisdom and my own desperate experimentation. If you practice them consistently, they will transform your relationship with yourself and your life. But there's a 4th routine, one they don't teach in the books or the podcasts or the productivity courses, one that's harder to describe because it's not really a practice at all. It's more like a perspective, a way of holding the entire journey. The 4th routine is forgiveness. Not the grandiose, ceremonial kind of forgiveness, not the kind you declare once and then check off your list. The small, daily, mundane kind of forgiveness, the kind you offer yourself when you skip your practice, when you reach for your phone, when you fall back into old patterns, when you forget yet again who you really are. Because you will forget. That's not a failure, it's a guarantee. You will have mornings when the alarm feels like an enemy and the practices feel like just another thing on your to-do list. You will have days when the old burnout patterns rise up and convince you that none of this matters, that you're not really healing,
that you're still broken. And on those mornings, on those days, you will need forgiveness. Not as an excuse to give up, not as a reason to stop trying, but as a gentle hand that reaches down, lifts you up, and says, start again. Right here, right now. This moment is always new. The nervous system doesn't heal through perfection. It heals through repetition, through showing up again and again, even when you don't feel like it, even when it doesn't seem to be working, even when you've fallen so many times that you've lost count. Every time you return, every time you choose presence over distraction, every time you take your 90 seconds, every time you feel your body from the inside, you are filling another crack with gold. You are telling your nervous system, I'm still here, I'm still showing up, I'm still choosing myself. And slowly, imperceptibly, that message gets through. The gold accumulates, the cracks become beautiful, the broken pot becomes a masterpiece. What remains when the routines fall away? I want to tell you something that might sound strange given everything I've shared. The routines don't matter. Not really, not in the way you think. What matters is what the routines point to. What matters is the relationship they help you build with yourself. What matters is the quality of attention you bring to your own existence. The 90-second pause is just a container. What matters is the presence you find inside it. The body scan is just a map. What matters is the territory of your own felt experience that you learn to navigate. The rhythmic grounding is just a rhythm. What matters is the safety your nervous system builds through consistency. If you lose the routines someday, if life gets chaotic, if you travel, if you forget, if you simply can't maintain them, you won't lose what they've given you. Because what they've given you isn't the routines themselves. It's the capacity to return to yourself, no matter what. It's the knowledge that you are always here, that you can always come home, that no matter how far you stray, no matter how long you've been gone, no matter how many cracks have formed in your absence, you can always, always return. And in that return, you will find yourself waiting, not judging, not disappointed, not keeping score, just waiting, just present, just ready to begin again. An invitation, not a prescription. So here's what I want to leave you with. Not a prescription, not a program, not a set of rules you must follow or else you failed. An invitation. An invitation to meet yourself differently tomorrow morning, to pause just for 90 seconds before you let the world in, to feel your body from the inside just for a few minutes before you ask it to do anything, to move slowly, deliberately, rhythmically through a simple sequence that says, I matter. My presence matters. My existence matters. An invitation to notice what happens when you do this, not to judge it, not to evaluate it, just to notice, to be curious, to treat yourself as a fascinating experiment in what becomes possible when you finally stop treating yourself as a machine and start treating yourself as a garden. An invitation to forgive yourself when you forget, when you skip, when you fall back into old patterns. To forgive yourself not as a way of giving up, but as a way of making it safe to start again. An invitation to let the cracks be filled with gold, not through effort and striving, but through simply showing up, day after day, with presence and attention and the quiet willingness to be exactly who you are.
The doorway is always now. There's a teaching in the Zen tradition that goes like this. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. When the teacher appears, the student must be willing to let the teacher go. When the student lets the teacher go, the student becomes the teacher. When the student becomes the teacher, the student realizes they were never the student at all. They were always just walking home. I don't know where you are on this path. I don't know how many mornings you've woken up already exhausted, how many days you've pushed through when your body was screaming for rest, how many years you've spent running on fumes and pretending it was fuel. But I know this: you are ready. Not because you've mastered anything, not because you've finally figured it out, not because you're stronger or smarter or more disciplined than you used to be. You're ready because you're still here, because you're still searching, because you're still willing to consider the possibility that things could be different. That willingness is everything. It's the crack that lets the light in. It's the threshold where the dreamer meets themselves. It's the gold that's been waiting all along to fill you. A final story. There's a story I love. I don't know where it comes from, probably from some tradition I've never studied, probably told and retold so many times that the original is long lost, but I love it anyway. It's about a woman who spent her whole life searching for treasure. She traveled to distant lands. She studied with famous teachers. She read every book, tried every practice, followed every map, and still the treasure eluded her. Finally, old and tired and ready to give up, she returned to the home she'd left so many years ago. She sat down in her childhood garden, under the tree where she used to play, and wept. And as her tears fell on the ground, her hand, resting on the earth, touched something hard. She dug, and there, buried beneath the tree where she'd played as a child, was the treasure she'd spent her whole life searching for. It had been there all along, right where she started, waiting for her to come home. You've been searching, maybe for years, maybe for decades, maybe for your entire life. You've tried the productivity hacks and the morning routines and the biohacking protocols. You've read the books and listened to the podcasts and followed the gurus. You've done everything you were supposed to do, everything the world told you would work, everything that was supposed to finally make you feel whole. And still, you wake up tired. Still, you feel the cracks. Still, you sense that something vital is missing, not out there somewhere in the distance, but right here, right now, closer than your own breath.
Here's what I want you to know. The treasure isn't out there. It never was. It's here. In the 90 seconds of presence you offer yourself before the world rushes in. In the body, you finally take the time to feel. In the rhythm you build, day after day, that tells your nervous system you're safe, you're home, you belong. It's in the cracks, the very cracks you've been trying to hide, to fix, to transcend. The cracks are where the gold goes. The cracks are where the light enters. The cracks are what make you not just whole, but beautiful. You don't need to find yourself. You need to come home to yourself. And home is not somewhere you get to after enough effort and striving and achievement. Home is here, now, in this breath, in this body, in this moment. The doorway is always open. The threshold is always waiting. The gold is always ready. All that's required is that you show up. Tomorrow morning, for 90 seconds, with nothing but your breath and your presence and your willingness to simply be. That's it. That's everything. That's the beginning of the rest of your life. One last thing. Before you go, before you close this video and carry on with your day and perhaps forget some of what we've explored together, I want you to do something. Close your eyes, just for a moment. Take a breath. Feel yourself here, in this moment, reading these words, receiving this transmission, participating in this ancient and eternal act of one human being speaking to another across the void of separation. Feel the weight of your body, the rhythm of your breath, the aliveness that pulses through you right now without you having to do anything to earn it. This is who you are. Not your achievements, not your failures, not your burnout, not your healing. This presence, this awareness, this aliveness that has been here all along, beneath every story, beyond every identity, before every wound. This is home, and you are already here. You've always been here. You just forgot. And now, in this moment, in this breath, in this simple act of paying attention, you remember. That's all healing ever is, remembering what you forgot, coming home to what never left, filling the cracks with the gold that was always there. If this stirred something within you, if something in these words resonated in a place deeper than thought, if you felt even for a moment the possibility of a different way of being, then carry that with you. Not as something to achieve, not as something to perfect, not another thing on your to-do list, but as a seed. Plant it in the soil of your mornings, water it with your presence, tend it with your forgiveness when you forget, and trust that it will grow, not because of anything you do, but because that's what seeds do when they're planted in good ground. The neuroscientists have their explanations, the mystics have their stories, the philosophers have their frameworks, but you have something simpler and more direct. You have your own experience. You have your own mornings. You have your own cracks waiting to be filled with your own gold. And now you have a way to begin. Not tomorrow, not when things settle down, not when you finally have enough time. Now, this moment, this breath, this choice. The doorway is open. The threshold is waiting. The gold is ready. All that's missing is you. If this video touched something in you, if you felt even a whisper of recognition, a flicker of possibility, a quiet knowing that things could be different, then I invite you to subscribe. Not because I need the numbers, not because the algorithm demands it, but because every week we gather here to explore these questions together, to remind each other of what we keep forgetting, to walk each other home. Subscribe if you want more of these conversations, more of this weaving of science and spirit, practice and poetry, neuroscience and ancient wisdom, more invitations to remember who you really are. And share this with someone who needs to hear it, someone who's been running on empty, someone who's forgotten that the treasure was always buried in their own garden. Because that's how this works. That's how the gold spreads, one crack at a time, one heart at a time, one morning at a time. Until next time, stay present, stay gentle, stay gold. The cracks are where the light gets in, and you, my friend, are full of light.